This is Jeamie TKV. I'm back with LT Sweet Boxing Science and the main man JFT down the bottom. And if you can't see, the logo is looking fresh in the background as always.
He's going to go mad when she realises I've painted the living room.
Yeah, Dave's got a graphic designer on the books now. Right, we're going to get straight into it. Mr. Tully needs to shoot shortly. So the vacant British Heavyweight Championship on the line. Both of them, well, Frazer coming off that win over Ebenezer Tete, pushed Dillian Whyte a bit before that, but we know White's probably on the tail end now. TKV coming off that controversial fight against David Adelaide, was dominating. Then he got hit on the break, if you want to call it that. A bit of a refereeing error, but it was what it was. He gets his shot again. Boys, talk me through what happens in Derby. Boxer's first show on the BBC. BBC 2 for the main event, I think. I'm interested to see how things look for them.
Go on, Liam.
I just said it to you off camera, mate, and I'll say it again here. For me, this isn't a competitive fight. Frazer Clarke's amateur pedigree that he has from going to the Olympics, from being a GB boxer for as long as he was, he can keep this fight on the end of his jab and his left hands all night long if he chooses to. But we know what happens with Frazer. He gets a taste for it, doesn't he? And he allows himself to get drawn in. He was winning the first 4 or 5 rounds against Wardley first time round. He was arguably 3-1 up, wasn't he? Until he got sucked into a fight and it was the majority draw. But I don't think he'll make the same mistakes again. He stayed cool and calm, hasn't he, during the week in the build-up. I just have a feeling that Frazer Clarke's going to seize his moment here. In his own words, he let an opportunity slip first time rounds with Fabio. He doesn't like to talk about the second fight other than to say he needs to right that wrong. So for me, I think we're going to see an emphatic performance from Frazer. Close to home, he said he sold well on the ticket front. And TKV, the way he's carried on this week on TalkSport, I think that just adds fuel to the fire for Frazer.
Yeah, I think so. Evening, Luke. I hope you're well, mate. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, I think that's a fair comment about stylistically. Liam, if you need to shoot, mate, you fire on. Are you going to give your prediction? Did you give it? I know you said Frazer's going to win, but what's the...
I can see Clarke winning it on points for the reasons Luke has said, just stylistically not gelling, but I'll go for a late stoppage for Frazer. Just think TKV we've seen in the Adelaide fight, when he unravels, he's very quick to unravel and it's very easy to pick him off and get a finish, and that's where Frazer's at his best, isn't it? Look how he got to Tete early on. Yes, Tete appealed the stoppage, but that came from, Frazer Clarke being accurate with his shots. So I say Frazer stoppage 9-11 for me.
Frazer 9-11. Liam, pleasure as always. Thank you very much, mate. JFT, how have we got things, my man?
A little bit different for me. I don't think it's a close fight. I don't rate TKV. I just don't think he's as good as people make out. I think he's sloppy. I think he's there to be hit. And I think Frazer has realised, look, let's not beat around the bush. A lot of people had him beating Fabio Wardley.
I thought he won the first one.
I did. So that, for me, that performance has aged well. Let's take out the anomaly in the second performance, because there's arguments that it didn't get separated when it did and the punching didn't. But it happened, right? And he got flattened. But he's come back and he made mincemeat out of Tete, really, for me, compared to other people have struggled with him and he's this bogeyman. And I think that this fight will be Frazer's coming out party. It's a British title that a lot of boxers don't get to fight for, let alone win. My own brother boxed for it and didn't win it. So I know what it means to fighters, and I know the fighters that have won it and how much it means to them. It's the oldest championship in boxing, right? And it means a lot. And I think that this fight is going to be Frazer's coming out party. I think off the back of this, he's going to make a couple of defences and he'll win it outright, and then he'll go on maybe and challenge for a European or a fringe world title or something. But I think that we're going to see the best of Frazer Clarke. I don't think we have seen that yet. And I think Saturday night is going to be on terrestrial TV as well. I think that's going to add fuel to his fire. And the fact that TKV's been trying to bully him. I saw him on TalkSport and he was just trying to bully him and he came off as an arsehole. He just came off as an arsehole. You could see that even the guys that were hosting were embarrassed by it. It was embarrassing. So I think that Frazer Clarke's going to box his head off. I think he's going to get frustrated, his TKV. He's going to try lunging. I can see him walking onto one. And I think Frazer Clarke will win it by stoppage, round 8.
Okay, so similar to Lee. And then this is taking a pattern because I'm doing the same as I did on the Whittaker fight. Both of you picked a stoppage. I think Frazer wins it on points. And basically, to echo what you and Liam said, it's not that I don't rate TKV because he actually fought a decent game plan against Adelaide, but God, it was boring. And if he's going to box, Frazer Clarke will outbox him. He's a better boxer than TKV. Look, I think most people's last image of Frazer, I know he knocked out Tete in a round or whatever it was on his comeback fight, but what he's remembered for really at the moment is Fabio blasting him. But like you say, we need to think about the first fight as well, where he went 12 brutal rounds for the British the British heavyweight championship that they're fighting for again. And many people, myself included, thought he nicked that, but a draw was probably fair. He was down and stuff like that. Showed tremendous. Look at Fabio now. No one's going the distance with him. He's the only one to take Wardy the distance, I think, in that first fight. TKV, yes, he was beating Adelaide, but like you say, it was a bit of a mess, the finish.
But Adelaide, look, let's not pretend that Adelaide is any good, because he's
not. No,
if he didn't have, look, this is coming from somebody who don't box, right? But I voiced my opinion and I dine out on that. David Adelaide, if he didn't have one punch knockout power, would be a journeyman. It's that simple, because it's got him out of that many scrapes previously. It got him out of one that night. Yeah, the ending was controversial and there was a hit on the break or not a hit on the break or whatever, right? But Adelaide's not in the same vein as Frazer Clarke. Frazer Clarke is an Olympian, an Olympic medalist, a stalwart and ever present in Team GB over the last 10 years. Even when Joshua and Joe Joyce were coming, the only reason we haven't heard about, or the masses haven't heard about Frazer Clarke 8 years prior to what they did, is because he was behind Joshua and Joe Joyce. Yeah. But he's always been part of those camps. He's sparred with those guys for years and been part of the progression of their careers. Frazer Clarke will show what Frazer Clarke's really about on Saturday night. I really do believe that. And I think TKV is going to get put firmly back in his box, and he's going to be shown that there are levels to this. And I believe that Frazer Clarke is levels above TKV. Yeah,
I agree. He can win it by a multiple different ways, in my opinion. Clarke, I think TKV, I'm not convinced on his cardio and stuff like that. But look, we'll see. I'm looking forward to this fight more than the Ben Whittaker fight, I have to say. I don't know if there's going to be a show clash I've not heard or.
Who's on undercutting? Cameron Vong and Gwyn on undercard?
That's on the Whittaker undercard, yeah.
Is it? So what's on the TKV?
Jack Massey's out in a run out. Fran
Hennessy's
out. Yeah. I can't think.
So there's no real fights on it other than the main event?
No, the undercard to the Matchroom shows better because it's got Vong and Gwyn, the rematch. But the main event, I think, if there's going to be a clash, I'll probably prefer to watch the Clarke TKV fight.
Absolutely.
But look, you'd like to think that. You'd like to think that one of them will go slightly earlier. I would think.
Did you say that it's the main event's on BBC 2, not
BBC 2 for the main event, and I think iPlayer for the undercard. That's what they've been saying. But again, obviously, we've not seen it happen yet, so we don't. But that's what I've been hearing in the interviews.
That's good, because I mean, BBC 2 will get a lot of eyes.
That's what I mean. You look at the viewing figures at the Harlem Eubank fights and stuff do on Channel 5. BBC 2. It's interesting. It's a heavyweight championship fight. So again, look, it's all going to be a first for us. It's the first time I think I've ever watched a fight in the 20 years I followed boxing on the main BBC channel here in the UK. So look, it's only a good thing. I think it's good to see Boxer back. It's been a while. Yes, they've been involved with the Eubank fight and stuff like that, but this is their first promoted fight in a hell of a long time. So let's see how it goes. I've heard Adam Azim could headline on the 31st of January. Obviously, your man Troy's facing Callum Simpson at the back end of December the 20th. So look, Ben Chalon said they're doing one show a month.
Would love with that, Ben.
We'll hold you to that, Ben. But yeah, anything else to add, mate, before we
Not really. I mean, unfortunately, I'm old enough to remember when you could only watch boxing on BBC One.
Yeah.
No, I'm again, as I said, I'll repeat myself. I am actually looking forward to this fight. I was a bit underwhelmed when it was first made, but it's grown on me, and obviously there's been a bit of needle in the build-up. So, no, I'm looking forward to a ding dong on Saturday night. We haven't had a good heavyweight ding dong on terrestrial TV for I think Audley Harrison might have been one of the last on terrestrial TV back in
I think
2003.
or David Hay on Dave, but that's not one of the main channels.
I think Audley Harrison was on ITV.
Yeah, he was.
The only reason I know because I was in one of Her Majesty's hotels at the time, and I watched it, so it must have been on terrestrial TV.
I remember Amir Khan fighting on ITV.
He fought Mario Kinderland, didn't he, on terrestrial TV?
And I'm sure he fought like Willie Lemon and
possibly, but you know, it's good that it is back because it also gives people an opportunity. Because there are people that can't afford to buy pay-per-views and Sky.
Well, the Zone are up against it because, and I don't know if this is Shalom pulling one over on Eddie and Ben Whittaker or whatever it is, but like they're bang up against it on Saturday night because the majority of people will be tuning into the free-to-air thing.
But even if you had a choice, let's be honest, right? If we've got a choice and we've got to pick between one, I think you've just said it.
I'd pick the main event. Yeah, definitely.
Rather than Ben Whittaker, because I believe there's less chance of Whittaker being in a dogfight and losing than there is this. You know, it's a pick'em. I know we've give our opinions and we think there's a favourite, but it is more of a pick'em than Ben Whittaker's fight. There's more at risk as well, and it's a British title. So for me, if I've got a choice, I'll be watching the heavyweights. Looking forward to it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yes, Luca Fury as well, of course. Gunner's in the house. Hope you're well. Gunner, how you guys? TKV is a weird fighting style. Lunge forward and hugs and repeat. Yeah, that's what he did in the Adelaide fight. But look, we'll be around for the fights on Saturday. So please. Do join us. Go subscribe to JFTJ's Fight Talk YouTube channel. Follow him on the socials. He's been doing the rounds everywhere this week, so you see him on all sorts of different YouTube channels. So don't forget to do that, and we'll see everybody at the weekend.